Hello everybody, Larry Young here again with another segment of OLaMan Living Life with Purity. And today I want to talk about what I feel is a spiritual storm is about to come down upon us as a great nation of the United States. And I think that this storm is going to flow out with its shedding of graces upon the rest of the world. There's a special moment that we're in right now that I think is on par with other special moments in the design and the safeguarding of this union that was started back in 1776 and even was worked on before that. Now, let's talk about a little bit about what was going on back in 1776 when these colonialists all got together in Philadelphia to come upon the solution of extricating themselves from England and the king and setting up their own union here, that being the United States. And there was a lot of unrest in the community. Not everyone was for this. There were a lot of people that we would call loyalists that were against the people like Jefferson and Adams and the other names that we know that were setting about to try to dissolve this relationship with the King of England and set upon their own system of governance and freedom. But there were a lot of loyalists that said, no, let's not do that. Let's not be too hasty. Old King George, he's got that big army and all like that. He can come and they can slay us and take us out. They can ruin us. Oh, let's not be doing that. You know, we have all this here. We have all this like crazy stuff we need to be thinking about. We don't care about freedom so much. We want to care about us, our own personal needs. I've built this here and I don't want to lose it because you guys don't want to be under his direction anymore. But then there were also then the freedom seekers who said enough is enough. We can't keep going down this road, because what was happening also with these other loyalists is they were not preaching God. They were not talking about God as being their salvation. They were thinking of themselves as being their salvation. Wow, does any of that sound true, like what's going on today? It's very true. It's the same damn thing. History repeats itself. We keep doing it to ourselves. The problem is that we as human beings don't live long enough to learn. And so by the time we have learned, the younger people won't believe us, and they say, no, you're wrong. Sit down, shut up, we got this. And this is how the ball gets handed off throughout the generations continually. Now, after the colonists sought their freedom with the 1776 and then with the Constitution after that, we set about on this work. Well, in the 1860s or 1850s, actually, it actually began more like in the 1830s, the debates between how Northern life and industrialists were working into their development plans and the Southerners and their development plans. And everyone wants to hang their hat on it was all about slavery. Slavery was an issue, but it wasn't all that was there. There was a lot of other things that were going on that led to the friction that was going on, which brought the Civil War. Now then, during the Civil War, what happened was God, I believe, let loose with more graces again. And this came down upon the head of Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was put into a situation that was very, very tenuous at best. This knife could have fallen either way at that time, and his goal was to preserve the Union. He knew that he had to preserve the Union in order to be able to take care of the issues that they wanted to do with the slavery issues and the other things, the trade and the commerce and things like this that needed to be dealt with. But if they didn't have the Union, they didn't have any way to come in and make these other changes that needed to happen. Does anything sound like that today? Well, I can tell you, yeah, it does. It happens a lot. We've got two candidates here running for president right now. One of them they tried to kill the other day. And in that moment, all these people on the other side, the loyalists, if you will, they all screamed and hollered, "Oh, we can't have any of this. This is political. You can't have political violence. You can't have, no, stay away. No, can't." Why? Because they knew that the counter target was going to be on their back for everything that they've been doing this last decade, or at least since 2016. The continual lies, and the people, the colonists, if you will, the regular folks, could see that this was not correct. But they sat quietly. They didn't get violent and physical and fight back and shut things down. They dealt with it probably to their own destruction or hurt in this by not standing up, because they didn't really know who they were, and they weren't standing up for what they knew to be the truth. And so now we're in a situation where the truth is obvious. If you watch my podcast the other day about Plato's Republic, the Hermit of Loretto and Donald J. Trump, you'll realize that what is happening right now is these loyalists, if you will, or the people on the left-hand side of the arguments, are not able to construct a new reality to go with the facts that they saw in evidence. And so what they wanted to do was to blame what happened on the victim. That makes sense. No, not at all. But it's in their playbook. It's what they want to do. That we're not the problem. You're still the problem. You did this to yourself. It's your own fault. Change. Otherwise, it's going to happen again. And they're already talking about happening again. I mean, right now, this man has to be probably the most protected individual on the planet. And all of our futures are at stake here. Because what is happening right now in this moment is, I truly believe that Donald Trump is having his Abraham Lincoln moment. And he is going to be coming out with a speech this evening at the Republican National Convention that I think is going to be a major game changer. Now, the people on the left and what I would like to call the Exploding Head Society, these people are going to be fractured. They're going to say, no, it's a lie, it's a lie. I mean, even Joe Biden the other day, when he was trying to come out first to say, no, we can't have it, this is wrong, this is not who we stand for, and all like that. The very next day, he's out there attacking Trump again, saying that the man is a habitual liar and all these things. And, you say there's 28 lies during the debate. Let's write them all down. Let's talk about it. Let's fact check. Is this an opinion, or is this what you want to call a lie? Well, judging from where the attacks are coming from, I would want to have a second and third review on it, because I don't really trust anything that is coming out of this White House right now, because they are leaders of the Exploding Head Society right now. That the facts, they've gotten rid of the shadows on the wall, and now the facts in the sunlight are disturbing them so much that they can't deal with it, and they can't come up with answers fast enough. There's things that are going on right now, but we're in the midst right now, I believe, of heaven showering down extra graces. I'm going to have a sip of coffee here, which is not my norm, but have a few allergies going on today. But we have a situation now, I think, is in the Lincoln type category of God is showering down graces right now. And they don't just land on Donald Trump. They land on all of us. These are offered to everybody. And we need heaven to send us all the unclaimed graces that the folks on this other side of the argument that want to attack God and say that God doesn't exist and that we are in control, that we know what's best. We know how to go about this. We don't need God. God's a fictional character. This is what they say. This is what they're going to double down on right now. So what we need to do is ask for all these extra unclaimed graces that aren't being received so we can be strengthened and made ready for the next level of what's to happen here this year. We can get through this, but we need to be careful about things. Wait a minute, I got one of my dogs is rustling. JJ, come here. Get off of that. Come here. Come on. Come here. Jump. Come here. All right. Hey, everybody. This is JJ. She's part of my problem right now. Say hi, JJ. Yeah. JJ was a rescue dog, was going to be put down last year, and she just had poor training. So kind of like some of these folks over on the left, we needed to rehabilitate her a little bit. And now she's a good dog, aren't you? Okay, go lay down. Good job. And so we need to ask for all these unclaimed graces. We need to empower ourselves for this march that we have coming forward to us, because it's going to be difficult, but we're going to get through it. And I think tonight at the meeting of the Republican National Convention, when the two candidates give their speeches, I think the world is going to be confidenced by what is said, but there's also going to be like more gas thrown on the fire for the left side. They're going to rebel even harder. So get ready for that, because it's in their playbook, and it's what has to happen in order for them to heal. I know it sounds strange, but they have to go through this process in order for the idiocy to be let out, because they can't keep doing it, because even their own intellects won't explain it. But what can also happen in that is the violence and the responses can be even more inflammatory and geometric in their numbers. So right now, I guarantee you there are at least 50 individuals across this country are going through the process of what happened at the Butler, Pennsylvania event, and they're all saying, well, this is what he did wrong. This is what you got to do it right. I'll get him. And they're all making these plans. They all want to be famous. They don't feel that their lives are worth anything, and they would rather be famous than have a full and fruitful life, because they're so damaged from the shadows on the wall and the lack of reality that's been held before them. They haven't been held accountable. And so they don't feel that there is any reason to not act out like this. This is not normal. This is not godly. Now, the government has been having an attack on God for quite some time. I'm taken back to the Easter statement by President Biden when he was up on the veranda, or whatever it is, the window, there talking to reporters. He was talking about how, it was Transgender Day. He was making that announcement there on Easter Day. What a great event that was. Perfect timing, everybody. But he said at that time, he said, we're all made in the image of God. Well, he's right. But he didn't spend the rest of that statement, or that reading, which it says we're all made in the image of God, man and woman. So they conveniently want to leave these things out, and this stuff has to stop. If you're going to start citing Bible verses and things like this in your explanations and your arguments, and I get in trouble a lot of times with street preachers all the time, want to sit there, and when they find out I'm a Catholic, they want to go, oh, come in. They want to do the old gift gallop on you. They want to hit you with 15 questions and not let you answer any of them. But the gift gallop people like to do this stuff too. They don't want to go into the length of the passage or the reading in the Gospels. They want to just take the parts out that make their argument work. This isn't good. This is unicorn thinking. We can't keep allowing this. Just have to stop it. So hopefully tonight's speeches are going to change at least some of the rhetoric coming out. I don't see anyone lessening the temperature right now. It was a one-day deal. I just had to laugh at all these people who had, up until the moment that trigger was pulled and the bullet went through the ex-president's ear and killed the one man and injured the others. in that moment, everyone was like horrified. Oh, we can't have this. Oh, this is wrong. No, nothing's worth that. The word, they're just words, blah, blah, blah. And then they went right back to it. You can't trust the words. You have to watch for the actions. So let's be careful about that. All right, enough on that. Today's warning has been given. I want to see what the speeches are this evening. I'm really interested in seeing just how much God is brought into the discussion here. And I think that with Donald Trump right now, he knows what his job is now. He thought he knew before, but now he knows. So this is a good thing. I think we're going to see a man on a mission who's going to be bringing God in the fullness, not in the partiality, but in the fullness, is going to be coming to the world stage right now. A lot of people are going to reject it, say there's no way, no way, no way. But let's watch his actions. Let's watch everybody's actions, see what happens. Right now, this is one of those God moments. The Spirit and the graces are flowing. Get your bucket out. Get all you can that's unclaimed right now, because God has opened up the spigot like never before. So let's claim those graces. Let's use those graces. Let's be empowered by those graces. Now, let me tell you about a woman who lived in these graces and sought them every day. A good friend of mine, her name was Jan Scher. And Jan was a woman that at birth, the doctors didn't think that she was going to live. There were abnormalities in her, and as she was growing, the doctors would have to take x-rays of her spine and all these things because she was very, very compromised as a child. And I think at full stature, when she was got to be full adult, I don't think she could have been more than 4 foot 10 inches tall. And throughout her life, then she had to have her neck fused and all these things. And she had this beautiful long hair, and it went down to the small of her back. And I always called her Cousin It, because she just had this long flowing hair and kept it straight. And I said, "You look like Cousin It from the Addams Family." I said, "That was my favorite character." She says, "Well, hopefully I could be your favorite character." But we ended up having a good relationship, and it started when I bought the property in Rome City. And Jan was from Huntington, Indiana, and she was a huge, huge proponent of Father Solanus Casey, who had lived in Huntington, Indiana at St. Felix Friary. And Jan was a big proponent of getting sainthood for Father Solanus Casey, and at least people to know about the work and who this guy was and how he lived his mission. And he had several problems as well, but in the midst of these problems, he still shone above and beyond most of the other priests in his house that he stayed at. He was just that 1 in a 50 million guy. And he had a great relationship with the Knipe Springs and the sisters there with their medical attention they gave him over the years. So there was all these confluences of things came in. But Jan was picking up on all this, and she educated me a lot about this in our early years together. And we would all get together sometimes on a Sunday evening just around the property and watch the sun spin and have a little bite to eat and celebrate that a little bit and have our rosary prayers and things like this. And we would just sort of just rest in the spirit, so to speak. They're just quietly not saying anything, but just enjoying the miracle of the sun as it was happening on a frequent basis. But Jan was always sort of a constant. She was always trying to do more. She wasn't able to do a lot, but she always did what she could. And when the trial came along and I needed to have somebody speak on my behalf and on behalf of pilgrims and faithful people everywhere that wanted to practice this devotion, learn about this devotion, learn about what Our Lady of America was asking of us, she was one of the biggest proponents of that in her way. She didn't know how she could do it, but she wanted to tell everyone she knew about Our Lady of America and how important it was for us to know about this. and to try to live a life of purity. I fail every day. I failed at least 3 or 4 times this morning already. But you can always change. And Jan was always a big proponent of that. Well, when the trial came along, I could have called any witnesses I wanted, in my defense and to help make my argument. I called 2 people. I called on Alex Fiata, which some of you have seen before. Alex sometimes sits in here with me. We talk about things. Alex is a student of many things, religious and faith-based. That goes on. He's a great student of the church, and what's going on in the world. So he's a pretty good mind on that. Jan was always just about the people, and we talked a lot about that. What are we going to do with these people? And so I called on Alex and Jan to be my 2 witnesses in the trial. And the other week I had an opportunity to speak with one of the jurors from this trial over 10 years ago. And he had told me that I was the one that they remembered most about the trial because they thought that I was the one who was victimized the most. But he also mentioned that they loved Alex and his testimony that day, and they really loved Jan. Now, Jan, when she walked in, she was on oxygen. She was oxygen fed, and she had breathing issues, lung issues, and all like this. But she came in with her traveling bottle of oxygen, and I put her on the witness stand, and I knew how long that she would be able to go without fatiguing. And but I let Jan tell her story. And Jan told her story about being a pilgrim and going to all these different spiritual sites and shrines and things like this around the country and around the world as part of her development of her own faith. And she would always try to take people that she thought were less fortunate, less capable. Here's a woman who's on an oxygen bottle trying to organize other people to try to get them to these places, thinking that their needs were so bad that they were the ones that needed help. I mean, the woman needed a mirror. But she was just one of these glad hearts that you don't see that often. And Jan was one of the most important figures in that trial that helped win the case, in my argument, and get a clean verdict. With 157 counts against me at that day, we ended up with a totally clean verdict, in part because of Alex and Jan's testimony that day. Because they were the only ones that talked about the needs of the faithful. Everyone else was talking about money. Jan didn't care about money. She cared about the truth and about getting one more person to know. Every day was, can I get one more person? Can I get one more person? And that always was her goal each day. One more soul, Lord. One more soul. Put one more soul in front of me. And it was just an amazing ride she had. Well, Jan passed away the other day, and her funeral will be this next Monday, and it'll be at the St. Felix Friary in Huntington, Indiana. Where she'll be, she's going to be displayed there. That's where the visitation will be with her family. And then I believe the actual funeral mass will be at St. Peter and Paul in Huntington. So if anyone can go and go to one of the message boards or something like that, it'd be a great thing. I mean, for Our Lady of America, there hasn't been many people that I've run across that had more of a commitment to the devotion to Our Lady of America than this woman. So it's a great day for Jan, for our country, and for us individually. Take the time. Ask for the unclaimed graces today. Get ready, because there's a lot of them. So be ready to be magnified in that time. And let's think about the people and what it is that they need. And let's think a little bit about Jan today, too. Great gal. I wish everyone could have known her. We just had so many laughs together. I think I had said goodbye to her at least 3 times in the time I knew her, thinking that she was imminently dying. And we finally got to the end, and she just said, hey, we're not saying goodbye anymore. We'll just say, see you later, you know. And so that was our agreement, that we would not say goodbye anymore. It was always going to be, hey, see you later. And I know she's really happy. She was ready to go. She earned it. The doctors never thought she'd have made it past 12 years old. Just amazing ride for this woman. So happy, so happy, so happy. But let's fight for God. Let's fight for God back in our world. Use our feather strokes. Be confident. Ask for those graces. In the meantime, I love you, and I'll be back.